Hey everyone out there in YouTube land, Dan here from Geekcast Radio doing another comic book review. This time I'll be discussing Superman #1. Yes, Man of Steel is finally over, and the major title, the main title, is now beginning with a new #1. This is written by Brian Michael Bendis and art by Ivan Reyes, and for Man of Steel, I thought it had points of it that were really strong, some points I think that dragged. It was a 6-issue series that felt like it should probably have been 3 and would have been just as effective of telling that entire story. I was hoping with Superman #1 we get a little bit more focused, not that drawn out mystery that we had within that series, and allow Bendis to focus on the character of Superman and kind of guide his voice, guide his journey moving forward. And this is dealing with the events of Man of Steel, as Superman is going around, kind of doing what he does, kind of keeping his mind off the fact that he can no longer communicate with Jonathan and Lois as they're often spaced with Kal-El, which is, that sentence is hard to explain. If you told me that 5 years ago, I'd be like, who's Jonathan Kent? And why is Kal-El still alive? But that's besides the point. And he's kind of alone. He can't communicate with them. And also the Fortress of Solitude has been destroyed. So he's kind of reshuffling the pieces of his life, literally and figuratively, and kind of trying to figure out where to go from here. And with that, there were some really, I think, really strong moments within this. There's a good beat where you see Clark, Superman going through a sequence with him talking to Jonathan, and it makes me wonder why Bendis decided to take Jonathan out of this book, because seeing the way he wrote them together, I'm like, that's one of the best moments that I've seen him do in a Superman book. There, Jonathan doesn't want to go to school, and trying to have a conversation with a kid that has the power of Superman and explain why he needs to go to school. It's a challenging conversation. It was well told. It gave us a lot about the character of Clark Kent. It humanized him in a way, in a way that you can't really do with a character like Superman before he had a child. But now we're not getting that, and we are getting a little bit more of a mopey Superman than I would like. There is the sequence between Jonathan with Martian Manhunter and Clark Superman. I keep calling him Clark Kent for some reason, and I like the idea of it, of having a conversation when you're Superman, and how challenging that can be, because you get a couple sentences out, and then suddenly you have to travel around the world and save it and punch out beasts or save it from the aliens invading or what have you. But it's Martian Manhunter having a conversation with Superman about being the leader, being that idyllic symbol of hope that they need him to be, and him kind of being reluctant to it. And I find it troubling, or I don't understand why Superman would be reluctant to do that in a way. We're seeing it within that own conversation that he is doing exactly that through his actions, and why he would try to kind of hide away from that moniker or not embrace it. It seems out of the norm for Superman, and I don't know if it's simply because, again, we see the conversation, and I thought the idea was well done. That, to me, is Bendis bringing something to this book. That is something he does well, is taking an idea that you would often see within a comic, that conversation between two heroes, and bringing something new to it. So there you go. But the voice, the reasoning behind him, or the conflict he's having, it seems a little forced, and it makes me wonder if there's more underneath this Superman than we realize. We learn at the end of Man of Steel something might be going on in his head, or something's going off because people think he might be committing some crimes. I don't want to give that away for those who have not read it. So it just makes me wonder, is there more here that we're not aware of? Rogar Zar, or whatever, however you say his name, does not appear in this, but based upon how the book ends, it seems like that will be short-lived, and he'll be showing up at least next issue, most likely. And I will say the ending, though, it did seem like it hit fast forward. Like, I was reading the book, and suddenly we're in the next chapter, and like, did I skip a page or two? How did this happen? Where it was rather abrupt, and I wasn't sure if that was the purpose of it, just to have that shock. But it seemed to kind of come out of nowhere, and then it's like, okay, well, that's a cool cliffhanger, but it's oddly paced in a way. So, like, individually, I thought the parts of this were strong, but the whole just felt really disconnected. I will say Ivan Reyes, I think his art is fantastic. It is that big, bombastic style you want for a character like Superman. He, he has the stoicism you'd want. He can draw, you know, draw Superman for days. I love his paneling. You think he brings a lot to the pace of the book. With Bendis, you're getting a lot of dialogue, and you have to be able to, I think, make the page interesting and keep your, if your the dialogue's not working for you. And I thought overall the dialogue was well done, but I think Ivan Reyes, I think, was a key to that. Like, I love this page here, the of the with Clark all alone, kind of bookend in between this relationship with Jonathan, having that conversation. I thought that was really powerful stuff, and kind of showcased everything of his mental state. And again, that could be tying into like why he is not willing to take on that moniker, because he is so out of the norm of what he's been used to. Like, his mind's elsewhere, which I can kind of get, but also makes me wonder, like, considering the people that and you pal around with, their technology, the advantage that they have. You have a character literally called Cyborg that you know of. You have a dude who's a police space cop. Like, it feels like how Bendis is getting to this new status quo, it just feels like there's a lot of things that are being skipped over in order to make it so Superman can't talk to Lois in space. I don't know. But what have you. Overall, I felt like this got me much more excited for what's coming than Man of Steel. It wasn't, like I said, didn't have that drag out mystery. If anything, it ended much more abruptly than I anticipated. And Ivan Reyes, I think, is probably, it's good just having one artist on it, because Man of Steel, every other page you had a new artist at times. Having just one person finish the entire book. I don't know if he's going to be on for the next issue or so. It's hard to say in today's world, but I think if you're a person that maybe didn't love Man of Steel or didn't love Action Comics 1000, you might enjoy this. It's not going to be drastically different. Again, Bendis' voice isn't as strong in this, I think, as it did show up in some of the Man of Steel, but it may be coming. It was more so with the execution of some of those scenes where it's like, okay, here's Bendis trying to revitalize this character in some way. But answering the question of did Bendis save Superman, as was asked when he took over this, and I will say so far, I think I enjoyed the series beforehand much more than where we're at now. Again, I think a big piece of that was because of that relationship of seeing Superman as a father figure, and I thought, okay, maybe Bendis didn't want that in his book because he doesn't like writing it, but then we actually see glimpses of it. I'm like, wow, like that's where Bendis really does a good job, is taking superhuman characters and finding human moments, and that's what made Jessica Jones such a powerful book. Him and her relationship with Luke Cage, her being a mother, like, it feels like that would be right in its wheelhouse. So it's odd that it won't be a part of this book, at least in the upcoming future. I don't know if we'll get glimpses of it, or if we'll get more flashbacks like we have here. I hope so. Because I think it adds a lot more emotional weight that otherwise wouldn't be there. Otherwise, I think it would be, and maybe that's what he's intended to do. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what people's thoughts are on Superman. People who gave up on Superman continuing it because of Bendis? Are you a person who skipped Man of Steel and it was like, okay, I'm just gonna start with Superman 1 once that's out of the way? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I'm looking forward to Action Comics 1001, because that's supposed to be more into the journalistic side of Clark Kent, which I love, because I love things that tackle journalism. So seeing that in a Superman world, that could be really cool. And that does seem like that's where Bendis could really bring his experience in with a storyline like that. So it was okay start, not fantastic. I feel like, considering all the hype that went into Bendis taking over Superman, I'm waiting for that one issue where I'm like, oh man, this is Bendis bringing, reminding me of why I love books, like why I loved his New Avengers run, why I even loved some of his recent stuff in Marvel, like the Defenders or Jessica Jones. So far, it just, whatever reason, it's not quite there yet. Maybe it'll get there. I'm not sure. But as of right now, it's just been okay. So, alrighty. Well, remember that comics are for everyone. The key is finding the right one. Until next time, thanks for watching.